What this is going to be our second episode listing scientific errors in the Quran. And joining me with that, as usual, is Bogey, and we also have Nadir. And today we have the Apostate Prophet. And
hello,
hello, everybody. Apostate Prophet, introduce yourself for anybody who might not know you.
I am Apostate Prophet. I'm a YouTuber. I have a quite big growing channel on here. I'm an ex-Muslim. I do work concentrated mostly, almost exclusively on Islam and the criticism of Islam. Yeah, that's it. Unless you have more questions.
No, we're good. And then Nadir, remind everyone who you are.
Sure. So my name is Nadir Ahmed. I'm basically, you could say, a Muslim person who has had many debates. I've also studied this issue of Quran and science, and I've looked very carefully at Apostate Prophet's 60 alleged scientific errors in the Quran, and not just that, but as well as others. And I've come to the conclusion that there's no scientific errors in the Quran. Rather, it's a scientific miracle. So I look forward to having this discussion with you guys.
Okay. I think I would categorize miracle as error, but that's okay.
You know, the funny thing is, I want to say that before we start. I usually say that that many Muslim apologists, especially not those Muslim apologists who are scholars on the subject, but rather those Muslim apologists who, have little knowledge and go online and try to impress the masses with stuff like miracles and wonderful Islam and stuff like that. Usually, try to turn mistakes into miracles. I often say that. So it's quite funny that I come here and Nadir Ahmed does exactly that. But anyways.
Well, let me respond to that, if I may. Well, first of all, 95% of all my material online is actually debate material. Everything is what you see right here, where I invite critics from all different backgrounds to come and challenge my claims. In fact, I don't think I've given a lecture in 15 years. Seriously. So actually I need to start doing exactly what you're talking about. So I just wanted to correct you. And that's why, unlike Islam, unlike Christianity, the Bible has many scientific errors in it. And that's why people like David Wood, Sam Shimon, your friends who are scared to death to talk to us and to come on the show and just talk about the scientific errors in the Bible, which we all know about. So what you just said, Apostate Prophet, you need to apply it to David Wood and Sam Shimon, who are ducking me because of what I did to Jay Smith.
I gotta throw in here just a moment, Nadir, that you said Apostate Prophet was terrified of you and that's why he wasn't on the show, and he found out you said that, and now here he is. So probably would not be a good idea to boast how people are scared of you when they're clearly not.
Well, no, I don't think that I'm going to take that claim back. There's many people who came to you, and I think Apostate Prophet can probably verify that, who asked you, come talk to me, and he responded back, no, I don't want to talk to Nadir because something like I heard he's a bad guy or something like that. So I've been trying to do this for a long time.
Let me interrupt that for a second. Yeah. I've heard for the last 2 or 3 weeks that there is someone called Nadir Ahmed who wants to argue with me, with Apostate Prophet, and he goes on claiming apparently that Apostate Prophet is scared of me and he runs away from me and this and that. The first time I saw that, I get such emails. I don't know. I can't really respond to all of them, but I got this specific email where I saw Nadir Ahmed is challenging you for a debate. And my first thought was, to be very, very honest, who the hell is Nadir Ahmed? That was my first thought. I just want to clearly say that my first reaction was, who the hell is Nadir Ahmed? My second thought was, if I don't even know who the hell Nadir Ahmed is, how come this guy called Nadir Ahmed is going on claiming that I was running away from him? I thought, so who is this guy? I looked a little bit into it, and I found out that that you had a debate or a discussion with David Wood before. David Wood is my friend, so I was together with David Wood, and I asked him, hey, who is this Nadir Ahmed guy? And he said, I would just advise you to watch some debates between me and him that I had. So I watched those debates, and it was quite funny because there was nothing intellectual going on between David Wood and Nadir Ahmed in those debates. It was rather just David Wood making his usual hard-hitting points about Islam, and Nadir Ahmed coming with some conspiracy theory stuff.
Yeah, I also have to add one other.
Whoa! What was my conspiracy theory? You said you watched me.
In the following, after that, I saw that from Nadir Ahmed's side, there came a lot of personal attacks and accusations toward David Wood and his friend Sam Shamoun after a debate. So David Wood briefly told me, he said that's how Nadir Ahmed works. Usually no one has heard of him. Then he suddenly appears with his name, makes accusations, tells people that everyone was terrified of him, that everyone was afraid of him. Then he's on the stage, he gets completely debunked and destroyed, and then he disappears, and then he comes to the surface again by claiming that people were afraid of him. So it's very unsurprising. It's very unsurprising to me to hear that.
Let's start from the top.
Please don't interrupt me. I listened to your bullshit. Please don't interrupt me. So it's very unsurprising to me to hear that Nadir Ahmed goes on, some individual that I have never even heard of, goes on saying that I was afraid of him, I was terrified of him. So I watched the last live stream on your channel, Aaron Ra. Thanks for having all these discussions anyway. I don't know how you do that, but just give me a second. Sorry. I have an anxiety disorder, which is when I get a little bit worked up, I start losing my concentration and my temper a little bit. So I'm sorry for that. But yeah, I came back, and what I saw there is that Nadir Ahmed was calling me an online clown. So
clown?
This guy, online troll. This guy whom I don't even know, or who doesn't even know with me, who has never conversed with me, was going ahead and calling me a troll, which is very ironic because Nadir Ahmed apparently gets all his attention by doing exactly, by definition, what an online troll does, which is to go online and to say provocative things in order to attract the attention of people, in this case of me. I still believe in a way that I made a mistake by even agreeing to have a conversation with Nadir Ahmed. I would rather go ahead and have a discussion just with you, Aaron, and with all the other friendly people on here who usually talk about on these subjects. I kind of feel like I have been provoked by a troll, by a clown, to come here and have this conversation, who has done nothing but to insult me so far, but which I find very, very ironic. So that said, I would really not be interested in having a normal conversation with someone who can't even have some basic respect toward an individual who disagrees with him, and who obviously has achieved much more with information than he did in over 1.5 decades, as you just admitted.
Can I respond to some of this?
Maybe you can. I don't know. I think I'm so far done.
You tie me up and just tell me to my face what a bad guy I am.
We can talk about the scientific mistakes today. We can talk about this and that. Aaron will probably lead the discourse, but that's all I wanted to get off.
I would prefer
can
that
I
there not
respond
be
to this,
any
please?
more. I would prefer that there not be any more, puffing up,
Right.
in confrontation. Please reply, Nadir,
Yes.
but let's try not to make this personal.
Yeah. I don't want to do that. And I think, me and Aaron have had some very nice discussions. I think he can vouch that I did not trash him or anything like that. The only thing you got right is that I'm a nobody. That's true. I'm not, as far as being some kind of another troll. No, everything I do is discussion or debate. If I can't find anybody to talk to, then I'll do some kind of on one video. But I'm not going to trash you. I'm not going to do anything. Everything you've said about me is not true. You've never come talk to me personally. We've never had a discussion. And I think
that is the entire point.
Please don't interrupt me.
No, I will interrupt you because you have no respect, and I have no respect for you after you have no respect for me.
No,
I will say
respect for you.
that's the entire point. We never had a discussion, and you kept talking about how I was terrified of you and scared of you. Who the hell are you? Who the hell are you?
Look. Here's what I'll do for you.
Do you think I'm supposed to have some respect for you after you go on for weeks and talking in such a terrible way about me when I don't even know who you are?
Okay, look. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry for calling you whatever. Or I think someone sent some email about saying that you're scared or something like that. Obviously, you're here.
You say that.
Obviously, you are.
Okay. That. It's not someone sending me.
One thing I will ask for is I let you rant on about me for 5 minutes, okay? And now just give me an opportunity to just respond, okay? If for me accusing you of ducking me and now you're here, obviously today, I take all that back. Okay, I think you're going to find that a lot of the things you hear about me is not true. I'm actually, I think you're going to find me to be somewhat of a pleasant person. The first characterization you made about me, that this Muslim apologists go around just making these claims, and that wasn't true. 99% of what I do is debates. It's the people like Sam Shimon, David Wood. They're not going to come here to discuss the scientific errors of the Bible. They know, and for that matter, no Christian is going to, because they know the Bible contradicts science, and that's hypocrisy. They're talking about the Quran and that Islam has all these scientific errors. They're making mockumentaries, but they know they got scientific errors in their book. That's dishonesty. That's what you need to confront them with. Okay,
well,
but
I don't
I'm here.
understand that. I thought the
please,
entire topic, the entire point is discussing the
Yeah.
scientific mistakes of the Quran.
You
Why do
attacked
bring
me
up the Bible?
personally, okay, and I'm just responding back. I'm sorry for calling you for ducking or coward, whatever. That's not true. Let's have a decent discussion, and let's not judge me because Sam Shimon or David Wood told you this, that Nadir is his boogeyman, because it's not true, man. You never actually had a discussion with me. You don't know me personally, so let's bury the past.
Okay,
and
I
let's
would like
start
to just
a
say
new
something
chapter,
until we move on.
and let's see if those actions, if any of that is even true. How did that?
Well, I would say that should
Hello?
probably be the final thing. Do you hear me?
Nadir,
Hello. I'm sorry.
you're back?
So let the games begin. Is I guess what I'm trying to say. Go ahead.
Well, the thing is, I am normally always ready to have a normal discussion with anyone. I mean, that's how everyone knows me. I don't go around, although some think that I have such an antagonistic nature of work, I don't ever go around trashing people, go around talking trash about people, making accusations, personally targeting people. I have never done that. I've always done the opposite. Even when people have targeted me, when people have made videos about me or publications about me saying I was a prostitute, which happened, I said, hey, let's just sit down and prefer talking. You know, that's what I normally do. So I am that guy. You did the opposite. So and you did it insistingly.
No.
Which is why it's
You're
very hard for me
accusing
to.
All right,
guys.
gentlemen, if
Let's not
if
make
I
these
may,
accusations.
Whatever.
If I may,
Let's just move on.
I'd like to put the personal disputes down. I think both of you said your piece there.
Yeah.
and I'd like to just get started. First of all, Nadir, you mentioned that there are scientific errors in the Bible, and just to set the stage, how do we identify? Give me an example of a scientific error in the Bible. Yes, I can hear you.
I think Nadir might have frozen.
I can hear him. His camera's not working, but I can hear him.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Aaron, you cut out there. I didn't hear what you said.
All right, I'm sorry. You said that there were scientific errors in the Bible. So since we're discussing scientific errors in the Quran, then I would just want to set the stage. Give me an example of a scientific error in the Bible, and how do we know that it is an error?
Yes. So, and that was actually one of the miracles of the Quran, that the Quran actually corrects, not just that there's scientific errors in the Bible, but the Quran actually corrects it. For example, we see inside the Bible, and this is, I won't even give you the verse because it's just so Googleable, that it says the mustard seed is the smallest seed you plant into the ground. Just type that into Google Bible and you'll get the verse.
We're familiar with it, that even in Jesus's time, other farmers in his area at that time already knew of other seeds that were smaller. We get that.
It is scientifically incorrect. It is not true. The mustard seed is not the smallest seed, as the Bible falsely claims. So
what is the correction?
Oh, there's an orchid seed. The orchid seed is smaller.
Yeah. So in last episode,
I'm sorry. Now, when we go to the Quran, so now when we go to the Quran, and this is one question, and so let me just respond to what Baraz was saying. When we go to the Quran, it also has the analogy of the mustard seed being as small as a mustard seed. Now you would think, wait a second. Did the author of the Quran copy from the Bible? Because now we got two books, both of them having this analogy of the mustard seed being a very small seed. But guess what's not in the Quran? You got it. The scientific error that the mustard seed is the smallest seed which you plant into the ground. That's not found inside the Quran. So now we can look at this. We can say, okay, maybe that was a coincidence. Maybe he got lucky. But we're going to see that luck will strike again.
And we are joined by Mohsen. I'm sorry that the way that this lays out, I didn't see that Mohsen was waiting in the room for a couple of minutes. I think Rada was probably in there too. So
Hi.
good to see
Hi,
you
everyone.
all. All right.
Hello.
So in the last episode, using the example that you just gave for the mustard seed, and I can think of many other errors in the Bible, especially ones that are going to be relevant to what we're talking about now. I mean, we had the one where if you interpret it as saying water, I've gotten a number of emails that said that sperm or semen is referred to in Arabic as a word that means water. There's a colloquialism that refers to sperm as water.
How you say it?
I'm sorry, what?
You say it like the man's water, ma'rajul.
Okay, gotcha. So in that verse we were talking about last time, whether it interprets whether the interpretation is water or sperm, or whether it was interpreted to be an embryo, as one apologist tried to make the excuse, in all three of those interpretations, the statement that it comes from between the backbone and the ribs is still incorrect. That's scientifically erroneous. If you're going to argue that a mustard seed is actually larger than an orchid seed, and therefore the Bible has scientific errors, then you have to concede the Quran definitely has scientific errors because of that one example. That's not even talking about the other one.
Can I respond?
Yes.
Can I respond? Okay, thank you. So actually that's scientifically correct. Well, first of all, let me back up and respond. And actually, I didn't get a chance to fully address the question last week. Sorry, that was my fault. So let me go ahead, and I did research it, and and let me address that. Well, first of all, that's scientifically correct. The first mistake was, and this was that inside the verse, Surah 86 something or another, which Apostate Prophet, you might want to make a correction. The verse there doesn't say sperm. It says water from between the backbones and the ribs, which comes spurting out. Now, is that really accurate? Well, yeah. Here's how. For example, if I were to look down on my body, first thing I'm going to see is my rib. Well, if you keep going down, you're going to come up to the bladder. Let me just stand up here and show you where my bladder is.
You're not going to show me your bladder, are you?
It's like right here. It's something like right around here. Okay.
Okay.
And so, and now on top of the bladder is a tube called the vas deferens. Okay. So at the moment of ejaculation, the seminal fluid goes up through the vas deferens and then down through. It gets the prostate squirts stuff in it, and then it goes out the penis shaft.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is this: when you hit that vas deferens, now take a look around. What do you see? You see the backbone. So the description is actually correct. Now the second point here, and this is a question you asked.
Except that we're comparing the y-axis and the x-axis. And
but it is between the backbone and the rib. That's an accurate description because it goes up through the vas deferens, sitting on top of the bladder.
Your vas deferens does not go between your backbone and your ribs.
Oh yeah, it is. I just showed you the trajectory. It goes right through your rib.
No, it isn't. You have to go. Okay. You have to go quite a bit higher in order to get between the ribs.
Well, that's your interpretation. Okay, well, when you
wait. That's not an interpretation. That's just.
Well, let's pull it up.
That's just clearly wrong.
Let's pull up where the vas deferens is. Would you like to see?
And even if it were true, which we know it's not, but even if it were true, then the original point of emergence before it goes into the vas deferens is still not in that location. Even if it goes through, even if it went through a tube that went around your collarbone, we still wouldn't be able to use that as an excuse because that's not where it comes from.
Wait a second. I can only.
Look, Nadir, just a second.
Hold on. I can wait 1 second. Time out.
No time out here. As a well-rounded man myself,
I can only debate one guy at a time.
As a well-rounded man myself, I don't see how your explanation could work.
Well, here's what I can't do. I'm going to admit, here's what I can't do, and I talked to Aaron about this. I can't debate 5 guys at one time. I can't do it.
But it's only one point.
Okay, but wait. You guys are ganging up on me. Time out.
I'm not ganging up. I'm
one guy.
You. I'm a woman.
One guy can only address Aaron. Okay, I can't do this, guys. Please. And I did talk to you about this last time, Aaron. I can't do the gang ups. Okay, I can only do one guy. I'll respond back to you, and then I will take on the other person. He can shoot a question at me, and I'll respond back to them. But I can't do 5 against 1. Okay, so now you said the vas deferens, the location of it is not You cannot see it's not by the backbone or something. Can you please repeat that? Because I
Okay.
do have some
Let's
pictures. of this
imagine
here.
for a moment that the vas
Okay.
deferens went all the way around your clavicle, so that it went clear up into your chest and over your
Okay.
clavicle and all the way back
Mhm.
down.
All right.
And then you could argue, which you cannot argue right now, that the vas deferens goes between the backbone and ribs, because it just doesn't
Yeah.
happen. But even if we were
Well,
to
you're
pretend
affirming
that
it.
it did, even if we pretend that it did, that's still not where it comes from. It's running through the hose that's coming out of the spigot and then going back to the same place. It's, it may, even if it ran that way, which we know the Quran was not interpreted that way, was not written that way, that's not what it meant.
Wait a second. You're saying it. Okay, and the problem is I'm having a little bit hard time understanding your objection. You're saying that it doesn't matter about the location; it's not where it comes from. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, even if the vas deferens did go between the backbone and ribs, which it does
Mhm.
not, but even if it did, you still wouldn't be able to use that excuse. There is
Because
no excuse you can use. That line is just wrong. There is
well,
no.
you said okay. Let's pull up the text over here, and we're talking about Surah
I'm
86,
afraid
right?
we could argue this point forever. You're not going to concede this point. I get that. It is wrong.
You just made a claim,
I just have
Aaron,
to
and I
say,
want to make sure it's right. You said that the text saying that this is where you say it does not come from the vas deveren. Is that what you're saying? Or I guess maybe I'm having a hard time. What is the nature of what you're claiming before I can really
And
refute
I
it?
said we were going to be talking about other errors today. We were going to be talking about, stars.
Okay, emerging from between. It says basically defiq basically means kind of like squirting out or something like that.
Emerging.
So it
emerging.
says
Yeah.
yeah, and said
the word. Wait. What's the ayah? Which surah?
86:7.
See, this is one of those cases, Aaron, or everyone. This is one of those cases where, if you look at apologetics regarding this Quran verse, or regarding these two Quran verses, it's actually verse 6 and 7. You find that there have been so many explanations to this specific incident, this specific mistake in the Quran over the last centuries. They have tried to explain it by saying that it has something to do with how a human is initially formed, like when a human is in the embryo state, the place where semen is first produced is somewhere near the backbone and the ribs, or somewhere near the place where the backbone and the ribs will later form. And this is still, by the way, one of the apologetics that are around, which is complete nonsense. I mean, you can't possibly argue with something like that. It doesn't make any sense. That would be like saying I eat with my butt, because somehow when I was in the embryo state, my mouth formed somewhere where my butt was. But I can't really back this up, just as well as I can't back up the claim that semen was produced between the backbones and the ribs when I was an embryo. But it's all just complicated talk. What it really means is that what the Quran verse directly says is not wrong, because this is actually right. But I can't really prove it, because if I could prove it, I could possibly get an award for this. That's the entire nature of the apologetics surrounding this verse. It doesn't make any sense. You can't possibly follow it, because there is no way to follow it. There is no way to back this up. What the Quran verse says is very clear. The man was created from a fluid that emerges from between the backbones and ribs. This is something that people thought back in the day. It's simply not true.
Okay,
It's
well,
Like they used to think
can I
that
respond?
there was a
Can I respond to
colloquialism.
that?
Yes, there was a colloquialism that the mustard seed was the smallest seed. It was just a figure of speech that they had for a long time. That was the excuse that I heard in the Bible for how that's not really wrong. That was just a figure of speech that they used.
You
No,
can
there was
excuse
more
it in
figure
any
speech
way.
there. So, well, let me.
It's
First of all,
plainly
let me
wrong.
respond to Apostate Prophet. As I mentioned before, I can only do one guy at a time. So you said that this was something which was known to people at that time. They were like some ancient cults or something like that, were basically knowing this. I would like to see a reference for that. I don't believe there's anything like that. But when we look at the text, what it says is yakhriju, mean. And as we have our Arabic expert over here, it's from the word kharaja, meaning just going out.
Yes.
Coming out. And so the whole argument of Arun falls to pieces right here, because he was saying that this is something like a point of, if I understand his argument, that this was a point of origin of the semen, which the Quran actually never claimed that. Now, responding back to you, apostate prophet, what I would encourage you to do is to remove all the layers of interpretation that people impose upon the text and just look at the text for itself. And we got an excellent Arabic expert, Ghada, over here. She knows Arabic, speaks it fluently. She can help us all. And so she's going to help us with this text.
I just have to throw in one other thing. I mean, Nadir, where does semen come from?
Okay, so semen actually, it first starts out as seminal fluid inside the testes. Then at the point of ejaculation, yes,
are the
seminal
testes
fluid
between the backbone and the ribs?
Well, no, of course not.
And the vas deferens also. Never at any time does the semen get anywhere close to being between the backbone and the ribs. Now, if the Quran were accurate, if it were not in error, it would have said the testes. The fact that it says any other place means that it's wrong. That's just wrong.
The accuracy of the Quran, because this goes back to, well, now let me respond to you. This actually shows the incredible accuracy of the Quran. Let me respond to you, because what the Quran only said, it doesn't say that this originates. Yantemi, I think, is a good word for that. Agada is.
So that's
what
not
would
the
you
point.
use for originate?
It never gets.
Okay, okay, guys, one at a time, please. Please,
you can't say one at a time. I'm just.
This is so accurate. It's
Guys,
missing the side of the barn.
May I say something? I believe
Please,
everybody here has said their piece about this. It seems to me that you're trying to figure out a way to make this verse work in any possible way. The vas deferens doesn't even come anywhere close to the ribs. Nothing from the reproductive system.
Yeah, sure. Let me show it to you again.
No.
I'll show it to you again.
You see what
We don't want to see your reproductive system.
I am looking at anatomy. I am looking at.
This actually works quite well, but the problem is you guys have bad arguments. Okay, guys, no gang up, please.
Biology. What you are mentioning right now, I am still talking. What you're mentioning right now is incorrect biology. I sent in our private chat, I sent you pictures of what the male reproductive system looks like. At no point at all does anything go above the ribs at all.
No, I didn't say it's above the ribs. Yeah,
nothing goes around the rib. Even if the guy is like in the fetal position, it still won't go above the ribs. So I'm not really sure how you can say that this is accurate. This is not accurate at all. There is nothing coming out between the ribs and the testes. Absolutely nothing.
Okay, now let me respond to that. So I basically given you exactly how it works, and I stood up, I showed you. You guys, please no interrupting. Okay, listen.
Mr. Nadir,
I can't do this now.
if you
Correct.
Whoa, this is gang up again.
I'm not ganging up on you. I showed you what the anatomy of the male reproductive system looks like.
Nadir, you have to drop something. Whenever someone responds to you, is he walking away now? Nadir, whenever someone responds to you, you claim that they are ganging up on you, that they are interrupting you. That's not the case. People are just responding to you. You have to deal with it if you're trying to make a point.
Using the same argument that is incorrect. The vas deferens does not go towards the ribs, so I'm not really sure how. It's not. The picture is out there. All you have to do is open an anatomy book, Google it. It's not very difficult to see how it looks. It does not go up there. So how can you still, all you're doing, Nadir, is using the same argument that has been proven false but using like a different tone. That's not correct. You can't do that.
Okay, guys, listen. I can't have everyone ganging up on me.
No, you don't need to have a speech. People are merely responding to you. Whenever people respond to you, whenever people respond to you in any way, you claim that they are ganging up on you, that they are interrupting you, although you are interrupting people all the time when they are saying something. People are not ganging up on you. People are not attacking you.
I haven't even spoken in 20 minutes, so
you just have to sit there and have the discussion.
I can't have all these people against me here. I mean, come on, guys, please. Let's try to be fair about this. I'm still trying to respond back to Arun's argument, And now I got to deal with Ghada's argument. Now I got to deal with yours. I mean, I can't
They're
do it
literally
like this,
all the
guys.
same argument.
It
They're
seems
Okay.
to me, it seems to
Okay,
me
now
you're
I'm getting
terrified.
shouted down. Okay, come on, guys.
It
No,
seems to
no,
me
no,
you're
we're all-
afraid of
we're
all
all
these
saying
people.
the
Okay,
same
this is
thing.
turning into pandemonium.
It's
Okay.
one.
You can't just continue repeating everything you say, saying that this is, oh, no, let me show you how this is accurate and repeat the exact same thing that you said that we just told you is wrong.
Okay, here's what I
I'm
want.
giving you
Here's
evidence
what I want
that
to
it's
do.
wrong.
Here's what I want to do. Okay, this started out as a challenge between me and Apostate Prophet. I would like to just keep it between me and him. Please, I can't do all you guys. Okay, why don't you came here to challenge me, right? Not to bring 5 against 1. That's not what then I won't
But
take
that's
my
not
words
what's
back about
happening.
you running from me. I don't
I-
want to talk to
I
anyone
didn't-
else
I didn't come
other
here
than
to
Apostate
challenge.
Prophet. Okay, because I did send this in an email to Aaron. I said, guys, I can't handle the gang up on me because I can't address all these points.
Okay,
So,
it's not all these
I don't
points.
wanna-
It's one point.
I'm
Yeah, we've had
no.
three people
She
make
brought up
one
some other
point.
issues. I've got to address her links, which she posted for me. I can't
You don't
do
have
it,
to
dude.
address anything. Just
Where
understand.
the deference is.
Oh, guys,
Right, the
please,
vast
one at a
deference-
time.
It's the one.
Okay, I don't want to talk to anybody right now other than Apostate Prophet. Okay,
Sorry, you're on my show.
that's what I'd like to do.
Okay.
It's
I'm gonna
interesting
give
to
you
me
an
because
opportunity to talk to him, but you're not going to exclude the rest of us. And we're not ganging up on you just because 3 people make the same point, and you have failed to address that one point, regardless of who said it.
Each one of you is bringing up a little bit of extra, which I got to now address that. So I first got to get into the first argument, which is I want to correct you on, Aaron. You said that you try to bring up an issue that semen originates. The word is originates. And that's not in the Quran. That's not in the text of the Quran. That's your interpretation that you're imposing upon the text. And
at
so,
no
okay,
point-
I can't get interrupted, guys, please.
At
I
no
understand.
point- Understand.
Yeah.
At no point in the male body is the semen ever in the location that the Quran says it is. At no point
It's
ever.
absolutely okay. So now you're chanting. Okay, stop chanting for a second, and I can
I'm
address
not
that.
chanting.
Yeah. Okay.
See, let
Yeah.
me
Okay,
say
so
something.
now
if
let me
any-
address now the
if
second
any-
argument. Does it really is the location correct? Now let me address that
No,
one.
it's not.
Okay.
Let me say
Okay,
something. If
okay.
we read in,
wait,
if
wait,
we had-
whoa,
if
whoa,
we
whoa,
read in
guys,
any
I'm into
book,
pandemonium again.
I don't care, Nadir. If we read in any book, if we read in
No,
any
guys.
book ever in the world, that if it said something like he was created from a fluid that comes from between backbones and ribs, we would never ever. We would never, neither you wouldn't do that either, Nadir. None of us would ever go ahead and be like, well, it doesn't actually say it comes from between the backbones and ribs. It actually means something different, and we just have to find out what it actually means and where it actually goes. We
Okay,
would
so now let me
never
respond,
ever
please.
in any case say that. We are just doing this because it is the Quran, and we are doing this and we are trying to bend and misinterpret science because, as Aaron said, as the others said, sperm never ever finds itself anywhere near the backbones and ribs. That just doesn't happen.
Okay.
So there is a blatant mistake here in the Quran, and if we want to somehow make the Quran appear right from an Islamic apologetic position, we will do what you are trying to do, which is trying to reinterpret this verse. But it just doesn't work. We can't possibly get out of this.
Okay, now let me respond to that. So all I'm doing is rotating the torso, and I'm showing you from a point of view, from an angle where it works quite well. So now, so the analogy or from the point of view which I presented, no one here was able to refute it and say, no, this doesn't make sense. I will repeat it one more time for you guys to refute, and you got to pick one guy to refute it. I'd prefer you, Apostate Prophet, but if Aaron wants to respond to you, that's fine. Now, here's how it works again. If you look down, you're going to hit your rib, and it's going to go straight down to the bladder. Now, on top of the bladder is the vas deferens. Now, if you look around, you're going to see the backbone right there. So is that an accurate description? Well, yeah, it does
It's
work.
inaccurate. You know why?
Okay, wait a second.
You know why?
Okay, now why doesn't it work?
You
Oh, go
know
ahead.
why it's inaccurate? Because we are not transparent.
No, it's worse than that. It doesn't matter what a contortionist you are.
Your
you can't
argument
ever
has
get
failed, guys. Admit it doesn't work. The
yes,
scientific
admit that it
accuracy
doesn't
is correct.
Admit that your argument does not work. At no point ever, no matter what kind of a contortionist you are, you can't take your testicles and shove it in your belly button and somehow declare that is somehow gotten between the backbone and the ribs. It's just wrong. It was written by people who did not know that semen comes from the testicles. That's all that proves. That whatever man wrote the Quran obviously didn't know where semen came from. That's why he got it wrong. That's why all of those other references that we read last week also got wrong, that where people come from, that it's only from semen and not from an egg, because the people who wrote the Quran didn't know there was an egg, didn't know that there was a mix of things. The best that they knew was that they could tear apart dead bodies and find a clot at some point, and so they assumed that that's what semen turned into, because that's all they knew at the time. Now, the Quran is limited to the mindset of the people who wrote it, and that's just the problem. When it says something wrong, it's wrong. You have to admit that this is wrong, because there's no point ever when semen gets between the backbone and ribs. Sorry, it's wrong.
Okay, so
based on the last thing you just said,
hold on, guys, let me respond back. Let me respond to Aaron. So I just actually showed you. Let us show for the record for everybody who's watching this. I showed you how it actually does travel from between the backbone and the ribs. Now, Aaron's argument was
it does not.
Hold on, guys, please stop interrupting me. Guys,
You cannot
please,
do
let
that.
me, guys.
If you did that, you would probably be dead.
Whoa, guys.
Nadir,
If I get interrupted one more time, I'm done.
Nadir.
No. I'm not going to do
You cannot keep on claiming that you made a scientifically accurate point when you haven't done it. I've said something. No one has refuted what I've said, because I don't expect your refutation, which means that I'm right. What the hell is that?
This is what I don't understand. And I understand why he's angry, why he's upset. But the thing is, he keeps saying the exact same thing over and over again. The vast deference does not at any point at all in the body go anywhere above.
It doesn't even enter. It doesn't even enter the what is it called? The stomach cavity or whatever it's called. It doesn't enter that. Well, what the heck is he talking about?
Letter. So I'm not really sure. Like, you can't just keep claiming the same exact thing over and over again and say that, well, hey, I'm telling you this is accurate. Why don't you believe it?
Can I jump in real quick here?
Yes, please.
So I think let's not forget that a person who's not a believer is supposed to look at all these things and be convinced of the divinity of God. And when we see that we have to go through such contortions and
literally, yes,
and warped logic, how is it that it's going to convince a disbeliever is what I think Nadir is not understanding. And besides, I was reading a paper about where Hamza Tsortsis was debunked on the embryology in the Quran. And then, so he gives an example of this linguistic, lexical analysis, if you will, that Nadir does all the time, and Islamic apologists in general. So think about Shakespeare's The Tempest, Act 1, Scene 2. There is a line which says, "What seest thou else in the dark, backward, and abysm of time?" So, it's just like a poetic language, but now you can apply lexical analysis to this and say that Shakespeare was actually talking about the black holes, because the word dark, the word dark can mean dark, the absence of light, night. It could be black. It could be, it has a bunch of different meanings, like absorbing more light. And the backward has meanings of slowness towards a worse state, be pushed backward. And abysm has a meaning of like the bottomless pit and etc., a void space. So it also talks about time dilation, in fact, like how time is slowing down and how light is falling back into the black hole. So you can play this game ad infinitum.
It's a Shakespearean miracle.
But it's not just that. May I just say about when especially like the biggest thing about scientific miracles in the Quran is they always mention either this I think it's Surah 86, when they talk about this talks about the black hole or whatever it is that they believe that it talks about. But they forget that there is another surah, Surah An-Najm, that speaks about the sky and the stars as if they're nothing more than just lanterns.
Yeah, I thought we were going to talk about different scientific mistakes. Anyways, I think we're very much stuck on this specific subject because we could just not finalize it.
Explain one or two scientific mistakes, and that's it. This is not accurate. Why should we even bother? I mean, that's essentially like the scientific method. You try to figure out ways.
Mr. I have a short suggestion for Mr. Nadir.
Yes.
I have a short suggestion for you. I thank you for cooling down.
Well, it's not about cooling down. I can't handle all you guys at one time.
I know. We're tough on you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I just need something fair.
Yeah. The fair deal would be to take this answer to the anatomy professor in the university nearest to you, rattle it off, and see if you flunk it.
No, we've actually done. Okay. People have actually done that.
And let me tell you,
I accept David, that challenge. You want to do it?
It's okay because you're not going to be dissecting or performing any kind of surgery on anyone.
Whoa. You're backing away from your challenge.
No, I'm not backing away from any challenge. But if you say this in an anatomy test, you flunk that test.
Okay, so where I left off was, Aaron's argument, testes. Semen comes from the testes, and therefore this is wrong. And so that's where I left off. And I would like to just kind of excuse myself at this point because I can't debate all you guys at one time. And really, what I need is equal amount of time, and I need to only address one person at a time. That obviously, because obviously I'm on the defensive here, so I need really all I can get here. And I can't. What I would like to do is maybe you and I, Apostate Prophet, can schedule a time where you and I can do a fair debate discussion, 2 minutes back and forth. I don't know. We can make up some rules. Will you accept that challenge?
Well, it is really.
We already scheduled it. Why don't you?
No,
do that
dude, this
now?
is not fair. I can't handle all you guys at one time.
If we have three people make the same point, and
they're not making the same point.
We all made exactly the same point with no variation or deviation. We all made
you
exactly
interrupted me. You interrupted. I was about. I think I got 30 seconds off, and then somebody interrupted me, and then just took over. I'm like, come on, I can't get interrupted all the time.
Okay, so we're
going. So there can't be no interruptions when I'm talking.
We're talking about scientific errors in the Quran. Now beginning the Apostate Prophets list, where he wanted to talk about the ones having to do with space and stars and moon and so forth. And his number 60, and I'm guessing counting down from there, if you want to start that way. Apostate Prophet, I'm going to let you select whatever you like, but you do have them numbered all there already.
Well, I didn't even get a chance to respond to your false claim about the Quran.
I didn't make a false claim.
Okay, well, you did, and I'm going to correct you if you don't interrupt me. Okay, so the Quran, your argument, well, first of all, no one here was able to refute the claim where I showed you. It is between the backbone and the ribs where it goes through the vas deferens. You guys, I just got shouted down from like 4 or 5 different directions. And so let me tell you something. If I do miss a point, you claim, well, I did refute it. That ain't my fault. I cannot handle all these guys shooting, interrupting me, and one guy saying this and that. Oh my God, I got to respond to him. I got to respond to her now. I can't do that. So if I slip up, whoa, let me speak. If I slip up and I don't address your point, I got a good reason to. All right. So anyways, now you said that because it didn't mention that semen comes from the testicle, meaning this is like the origin of it. The whole issue of origin is nowhere to be found in the text. The Quran doesn't say that. About all it says is yakhriju. It just means it's kharaja means comes out, goes through. That's kharaja. That's what the word actually means. Therefore, it's a mute point, and your argument has been refuted over there.
Except
but what is amazing about this verse? What is amazing about this verse is, but what is amazing about this verse is that. This answers your question, which actually I wasn't able to answer from last week, and I just did some research on this. You pointed out last week that in so many places of the Quran, it talks about semen, the word many. The word many is used here, there, and there. But in this verse, it uses the word water, because that's actually what the text says. Well, we now know from science that when it goes through the vas deferens, it's not semen yet. It's seminal fluid. And once it goes down, and then the prostate squeeze some stuff in there, and then it goes out the penis shaft, now you got semen. So the accuracy of not using the word semen and using water, and you'll find many translations which actually translate it as fluid. It is very accurate. So the fact that it didn't use semen and used water is another scientific accuracy of that verse. Okay.
And the fact that it never, ever goes into the place between the backbone and the ribs, never at any time, means that what the Quran said, however you interpret it, whether it's water, whether it's semen, whether it's an embryo, no matter what you interpret it to be, it's wrong.
Okay.
Every way to see that's wrong.
So let me respond to that. What you are doing is you are just repeating yourself, saying never at any time. It doesn't happen at any time, but I just showed it to you.
Now you doesn't happen at any time.
Hold on
you showed where the vas deferens does never go to that point.
No interrupting.
You are just repeating yourself. You are saying the same exact thing. And
your argument has failed miserably here because I demonstrated
of the male anatomy. Why can't you just look at the picture of the male anatomy and admit that that doesn't happen?
I do have a picture. Would you like to see it? I could give you the
I sent you two pictures.
Okay. Okay, so let me address Aaron first, and then I'll address you. Okay, so Aaron said, let me repeat. He says, never at any time does it go through this. Well, I just showed it to you. So what you are doing is that you are just repeating yourself. You're hoping that if you just repeat the same failed argument enough times, it's gonna somehow some people are gonna believe it. But I
think that's actually what you're
I've
doing.
given twice now. I've shown you a demonstration where
you failed your demonstration twice and are still repeating a failed demonstration.
Let the audience decide what failed.
Nadir,
so now, okay, who's the next? I got to do Rada. Rada had an issue that anatomy was wrong.
We're going on this forever. Can I please say
I got to respond to Rada now.
No, you are responding forever.
I want him to look at the picture. I want him to look at the anatomy and tell me how in what world, in what kind of species of human does the vas deferens go towards the ribs?
I'm sorry, what was your argument again?
The ribs would be something completely different.
Could you repeat that?
You're saying that the vas deferens, you keep showing it like if I look at it from this point of view, that doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and when the Quran was written,
you're just repeating. You're just basically making attestations and affirmations.
You are doing the exact same thing. I am showing you fact.
Show it to me.
I am not telling you. I just sent you the pictures. I am showing you fact. I am showing you anatomy. I'm not telling you from my point of view. If I were a male and I had a male reproductive system, if I look down this way, I'm not doing that. Does he just go?
Yep.
Okay. Well.
That is like saying blood is pumped from between the two legs, and then well, if you look from below, then it makes sense because it is between the two legs. That's just
stupid.
But actually not transparent.
It actually absolutely makes sense because human consciousness lives in the brain, right? So we have to look at things from the brain's perspective, and then it lies between the rib and the backbone. I mean, you can make apologetics like it's just funny. That's all.
Well, the thing is, what is happening here? Please. Now we haven't heard enough, I guess. What is happening here is that Nadir is presenting an argument that in no rational way, by no common sense, makes any sense. No one would possibly accept this as an explanation that remotely makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Actually, many people. I accept that challenge. You said that nobody would accept this as an argument.
Nadir, you constantly complain. You're constantly complaining about people interrupting you and ganging up on you.
Yeah.
Yet, whenever someone says something that you disagree with, you immediately jump in and interrupt and start yelling over them. What the hell
is apologize. No problem. Were you done?
I guess you will keep apologizing the entire day, and we'll keep doing the same thing the entire day.
Sorry about that. It's hard to do four against one.
You are presenting something that no one can possibly accept by any rational common sense. Since no one accepts this, whenever someone says, okay, this is not acceptable, you then go ahead and say, well, you're just not accepting it because I made a point that is true and you cannot refute it, end of discussion. And you want that to be accepted. When someone then says, well, that is just not true because you didn't make an actual point, then you say, well, they're just not letting you go because they don't want to accept an accurate point that you made. You are just projecting on everyone else here because you are exactly doing what you accuse everyone else of doing. you don't want to accept that your argument doesn't make any sense, that no one can possibly accept your argument, and that we should probably just move on like that. If you want the audience to decide, then just let the audience decide. Stay with, okay, I made a point and you don't accept it, and then let the audience decide. Don't keep on claiming that that you made an irrefutable argument and that people are just angry right now because they couldn't refute you, because that's certainly not the case. Everyone is just annoyed by how much you repeat yourself on that.
Okay, yeah, and I apologize for interrupting you. And again, doing 4 against 1, sometimes you make those mistakes. But I would like to share my desktop here. Ghada brought a beautiful picture of exactly what I'm talking about, and you're going to see that. In fact, I'm going to actually save your links here because I'm going to use it for my presentations when I get around over there. So let me see if I can, let me see if I can share my desktop over here real quick, and let's go. Let's remember decision allow. Just give me 1 second here. StreamYard. Okay. Entire screen, allow. Okay, so actually I'm not able to share it. Aaron, could you share your desktop here? And do you see the second link which she actually posted over there? Could you please click on that? Because I think it illustrates exactly what I'm talking about, because she found a very good picture of where the vas deferens is in relations to the backbone. Would you be able to be so kind to do that?
All right, let me see if I can pull this up.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. How do I share my screen on this?
And while you do that, let me respond to Apostate Prophet. You made the claim nobody has ever in the past or will ever accept this. I accept that challenge.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, so you said people have accepted it now, right?
I didn't.
But he said, but no rational argument. Yeah, and it's
Okay.
correct. Now I'm trying to figure out how to do the. Oh, here we go. Share screen.
Yeah.
All right. And okay, yeah. And so there we go. There's your image.
Obviously, Muslim apologists who look for an excuse to somehow explain this Quranic verse will accept such explanations, although I never heard this explanation before, which is very surprising to me because I looked a lot into it. It's actually not surprising to me. I would rather explain this by how this argument looks very, very ridiculous even to Islamic scholars, which is why I haven't really seen this accepted by masses of Islamic scholars. I usually only see different arguments like it was between the backbones and ribs in the embryonic stage, which is almost as ridiculous as this.
So you said it's the masses of Islamic scholars who are rejecting it. Is that what you're saying?
I said I haven't seen it.
I mean, we know that had the Quran used the word for testes, then it would be good here. They would show that they know, because that's the correct answer. To say that it comes from any other place is a wrong answer, and that's what it says. And not only does it say some other place, it gives a place that we know it doesn't go, even through the vas deferens. No, look at this. Look at the image you want to show. Please show this in your next demonstration and show how the ribs are above this image. They're not even in the picture, and yet we know that at no point does the semen ever come close to where the Quran says it is? Never.
Okay. So now let me respond to that.
Wrong.
If can I respond to you? So the whole issue of where semen comes from, I believe I have already addressed. So now what needs to happen, Aaron, from your side, is you got to take my response of what I said of where it comes from, that whole issue, and you got to respond to that. We went into the meaning of the word kharaja, okay? And we have to make that distinction of where it originates. The whole issue of originates and kharaja meaning just to go out or something like that. You know, like, hey, I want to go leave the house for a second. Kharajtu min al-bayt, you know, something like that. I just left the house. So that's been addressed. I did show you, and I think the diagram is gonna. Were you able to share your desktop?
I did. I got tired of looking at a giant penis on my screen, and so
Okay.
I minimized it.
Okay, so I did not get a chance to look at that because let me try one last time, and let's see if I can share my desktop. Just give me 1 second here. Share screen.
It's okay. We've seen the picture, and anybody can dig it up from the internet.
So,
Look.
Aaron, you mentioned that.
Okay,
the
because
Quran had
I'm
mentioned-
looking. Wait. Well, guys, let me just respond here. So I'm looking at the Vas Devrins over here. Okay, and right parallel, or you get what with it? Yeah, parallel is the backbone. I see it right there. So
Yeah, now
once
where are the
again,
ribs?
the ribs are up at the top. Again, it's how you
Right.
rotate
So if
the
you were to draw a
torso.
line from the backbone to the ribs, to be between the backbone and the ribs, at no point would you include the tailbone, which even if you did include the tailbone, it would still be wrong. Even if you drew the diagram wrong, putting all the wrong lines in the wrong places, it's still wrong. There's no way to
It's
save
still wrong,
this.
still wrong. Okay.
We're
So
going to have to
I'm
get
not-
past this, Nadir, because we have a whole lot of other errors
Okay,
to
let's
discuss.
go to we've said all that we have said on this. Let's go to the next one. Let's go.
Okay. Apostate Prophet, it's your game.
My game.
Yep, your list.
Well, I have a huge list of 60 scientific mistakes. I believe Nadir Ahmed had a problem and
We
said
spent
that.
an hour talking about the recap of last week, so we're not going to do all 60.
I know. He said that these 60 scientific mistakes, or most of them, are actually scientific miracles.
Apostate, just a second. Just to clarify a point here. Is that 60 metric or imperial?
However you want to see it.
No, but what does the Quran say about it? Is it metric or imperial?
No, the Quran does not say that. This is Apostate Prophet's list.
Yeah, this
Oh,
is
okay,
my list.
so-
This is my list.
Yeah,
I wasn't getting
Okay.
I didn't get the
Okay.
point.
So
Yeah,
neither metric nor is it imperial.
This is my list. My list of 60 scientific mistakes that I made. And Nadir Ahmed said that he apparently watched this, as far as I understand, and that he has a problem with these scientific mistakes, and that most of these scientific mistakes are actually scientific miracles, which comes to no surprise to me, that claim at all. So I have several on these lists that I don't know what Nadir Ahmed would like to discuss, but I think some of the very interesting things is how stars fall down on the earth, for example, which I am sure Nadir Ahmed is very familiar with, which is a Quran verse in chapter 81. It's the second Quran verse, which basically tells us that the stars will fall in the future. So when the stars will fall, that's basically what the Quran says. The arguments surrounding that, the apologetics surrounding that, are in today's times that this does not literally mean that the stars will fall, but that the stars will basically just go out, lose their light or disperse. Although over the last 1,400 years, the vast majority of Islamic scholars have basically just repeated what the Quran literally says, which is that the stars will fall somewhere in the future. Mm-hmm. So I am sure Nadir Ahmed finds this first pick very interesting and will tell us that this is a scientific miracle. So please go ahead, Nadir.
Yeah, so if you read the context of the verse, it's actually talking about the Day of Judgment, when God basically destroys the universe. So from a scientific point of view, this goes under falls under the category of a miracle, where God intervenes into this creation and disrupts the natural process and decides to destroy or end the universe, and he can do so any way he wishes. So the whole issue about whether stars lose their light and stuff like that, we don't even need to go there, because this falls under the Day of Judgment and how God's going to destroy the world. So there is no scientific error over there. I think you just forgot the context there.
No, the Quran literally says, as Islamic scholars have also accurately pointed out over a millennium, that the verse literally says, "And the stars will fall." As in will fall down. So what exactly does this refer to? This is obviously a mistake, because the stars cannot fall. Not by any time, not today or by tomorrow or by the end of the world, assuming that such a thing will ever happen. The stars can't fall. There is no such thing as falling for the stars. They can't fall into any direction. They can't fall down, as the Quran says. And the Islamic consensus is even that the stars will fall down on the earth, which is impossible. The stars cannot fall down on the earth. The stars are giant objects that are far bigger than the earth, and the earth is next to them, just a little point, just a little ant. So what exactly does this Quran verse stand for?
So the whole issue about, just to correct you, there's no consensus as what you're saying, because if you talk to many scholars today, they'll point out that this is actually about the stars losing their lights. There's many articles which scholars have written on that. So the whole issue about consensus is, I just want to correct you on that as well. This goes back to the kind of the concept of a definition of what a miracle is. So apostate prophet, this is talking about God intervening into nature, into the natural world, and deciding to destroy the universe any way which he sees fit. So now when you ask, okay, well, how is God going to make stars fall when he decides to destroy the universe? Well, we don't know. It's kind of like asking the question, well, how did Moses part the sea? Wait a second. Let me think about that. How did Moses part the sea? That doesn't make sense from a scientific point of view. That can't happen. Jesus walking on water, from a scientific point of view, will not happen. So this is where there is actually an agreement between Sam Shimon, David Wood, and Nadir Ahmed. We all believe in miracles. We all believe in God intervening and doing these type of miracles. You could go ahead. So what I would recommend for you, actually, this is really, it's not an issue of a science and Islam issue. This is more of a science and miracles debate, which is raging on, taking place on the internet. I would ask that you kind of listen and follow some of those discussions. And so I don't see this as being really a relevant issue.
It's a false equivalency that you brought up, the walking on water or Moses splitting the seas, because we're talking about something that could literally happen, but we don't know how it happens, and people interpret it as a miracle. Others believe that it can't happen because miracles don't exist. In the case of the stars, we are talking about something that cannot physically happen. That just can't take place because it is completely based on a false premise, which is that stars are up in the sky. They are up above us, and that stars could possibly at some time in history fall down on us, which is false. Stars cannot fall down. It is not about how this happens. It is about the fact that this just simply cannot happen.
We have a conflict of hypotheses here. The people who wrote the Bible made clear that what they were talking about was a round disc that was divided into 4 quadrants, sometimes mistranslated as corners, and it stood on columns. So basically, we're talking about a round table, and the Earth is a map on that table. And then in the Bible, the Earth is covered by a firmament, which is a giant crystal dome, and then inside the crystal dome are the sun and the moon, which are both the same size as each other, and they're both declared to be bigger than all the stars. And the stars are basically just tiny little things that are decorations within the expanse of the firmament. And these tiny little things that twinkle inside the expanse of the firmament can fall down. This is what their hypothesis was. The Quran is based largely on the Bible, and so they repeat this same error. Now, this same error was not just in the Bible; it was in every Asian or Oriental religion at that time. Through Hinduism and on into the Orient. So there was a common idea, this tabletop earth with a crystal dome over it. And that's what it's talking about when it says the stars can't fall. But now we know what a star is. And we know that the smallest star is way bigger than this planet. And it's not above this planet. There's no sense of up or down. It would be impossible for a star to fall, even if you want to call it a miracle. Not even God could miracle stars falling onto the earth.
Okay, so let me respond to both of you now. Now I got two.
I wasn't done.
But I got two people I got to respond to now. Let me respond to.
Aaron added his commentary on what I was saying. I wasn't actually done. I was continuing about the consensus. The consensus of Islamic scholars. You mentioned that there is no such consensus. Mm-hmm. The consensus, I would base the consensus on the most popular interpretations of the Quran. The most popular interpretation of the Quran is by far, if you ask anyone out there, Tafsir Ibn Kathir, the interpretation of the Quran by Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir's interpretation of the Quran literally says, on his commentary on the specific Quran verse 81:2 and chapter 82, it says that that according to interpretations by the companions and by Arabi bin Anas, that the stars will lose their light and scatter and hurtle down towards the earth. If we look at another interpretation of the Quran, which is Tafsir al-Jalalain, which is also very, very prominent, very much relied on, it says the same thing. It says, and when the stars scatter, when they are extinguished and hurtle down towards the earth. If we look at most interpretations, they all say the same thing until we arrive in today's time, in a few centuries before us, and we suddenly see a rise of interpretations that don't include hurtle down towards the earth anymore, because it doesn't make sense. But this is what the Quran says, and this is how Islamic scholars have interpreted forever. And it's no surprise, because it is based on the idea of the Bible that stars are above in the sky, as Aaron pointed out. It is based on multiple other Quran verses that tell us that stars are an adornment in the sky, that stars are small in the sky, that stars are missiles in the sky, that the sun is above us, that the stars are above in 7 heavens above us, and so on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me respond to all of that. So actually I have 3 different presentations I got to respond to now, and I apologize if I forget or miss some points here, because there was a lot. So the issue, you just said that the proper interpretation was stars which fall, but then you quoted Ibn Kathir stating that stars will lose their light. So I'm not sure if you're understanding what you're saying here, but your own citation refuted you, and this is exactly what we're trying to tell you. It could mean
This is a very dishonest discourse of discussion.
Please let me no interrupt. I have a lot to respond to here, guys.
No,
I think he said lose light and fall down to the earth. So
guys, listen to me, please. Allow me to continue. If I say something which you don't like, wait for me to finish.
It's not something that I don't like. If you make dishonest claims and accusations, if you lie here on a debate, I can't keep that going. I have never said that they lose their light, and that is the only thing.
Yeah, let's try not to accuse of lying.
Yeah,
I don't think that Nadir. I don't think that Nadir understood that you were saying that they would lose their light and fall, because that's the important thing.
Both are correct. So please, one thing I want to again, you went Apostate Prophet, then Arun went, and then you went again, and now I got to respond to all that. And I know I'm going to say things that you're not going to like. I know I might even say yes, I'm going to quote lie. I'm going to lie because it's hard to keep up with all 3 of you people here. Okay. And I'm doing my best to keep up, but please understand that if I misrepresent, if I misquote you, please be patient with me. Let me finish and then you can correct me. Okay. But anyways, let me get back to the point over here. So what I was about to say before I got interrupted. So both meanings are actually correct, that they're going to lose their light or they can fall. Some say, some go either way. But see, I think the point which, the whole thing about the Bible and how the Bible's scientific errors, that's nowhere found in the Quran. What you just described about this dome or something like that, Aaron, that's nowhere found in the Quran. And this goes back to what I was saying about David Wood, Sam Shimon, and Christian Prince. They are scared to talk to me, and not just debate. I don't care about debating. Just talk to me about the scientific errors in the Bible. Apostate Prophet, if you're honest, you should go to them. Hey, listen, I just talked to this guy named Nadir, and he was open about talking about alleged scientific error in the Quran. Why don't you open up your religion and talk about the Bible? And so why don't we question the issue about the mustard seed? Nadir. So I just want you to remember that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The firmament model, the flat disk Earth with a firmament over it, is found in the Quran over and over again.
We'd love to see that.
I have made references to that in the previous series. In Infidel Reads the Quran. I found references to that model at least 4 times.
Can we do that? Can we do that one next?
I would love to do. Yeah.
Let's do the flat disk one next. I love that one. Okay.
See, that's also
okay. Guys, let me finish what I was saying here.
All right.
So
We do
stars-
have that on the schedule, though, because I already did put that on the schedule, so that we can do that one next time if you want to.
Okay, fine. So let me finish what I was saying here. See, the thing is, you're having a hard time grasping what a miracle is. If we look at a star, first of all, the science which you are saying, which it contradicts, doesn't exist. Okay, when you say stars don't fall, well, what do you mean by that? Can stars lose their orbit? Yes, they can lose their orbit. And when you
Stars do not orbit.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me finish my point. Do not, please, guys. When you now you brought up a good point, Aaron, and this is what I will insist. When you say that stars do not orbit, and when you say, okay, Nadir, you made a claim of science which needs to be fact checked. Good. I got to provide a reference for what I'm talking about. Okay, so let me go ahead and let me paste inside the text over here my reference, and I will ask that you do the same. Okay, when you make a claim of science. So I'm quoting Universe Today here. It says stars also have their own motion in space, called proper motion. They orbit. They orbit, and therefore it's possible to lose its orbit. So let me paste for you my reference. So at any time when we make a claim of science, we got to back it up, and I've just put it for you inside the chat. But my point here, it's mute, because it doesn't matter. Let's hypothetically say stars are just fixed in the sky and they have no motion. Again, if you see something, and then the Quran says, well, I'm going to come and do this in the day of judgment. This does not contradict science, because once again, this is God intervening into the universe, into the natural world, and disrupting the way it works, and then doing a miracle. So talk to David about this. He can explain it a lot better than I could. So that's why this can never contradict science, and we're wasting our time on miracle claims of the Quran when there's other things which can be falsified, like that so-called disc baloney, which I was hearing today. Let's go to that, because this is another dead argument, just like the backbone one. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No.
So can I jump in on that real quick?
Yes, please.
So basically all your arguments are around Quran has scientific miracles until they don't. And when they do have contradiction with science, those are miracles. So basically, it's heads I win, tails you lose. You're never going to be able to lose in this situation. You have positioned yourself in a way that, okay, if you're going to cherry pick the science, basically, and that's how you positioned yourself.
Yeah, okay, now let me respond to that. No, you're wrong. There are many statements in the Quran which can be falsifiable. Like, for example, in my last debate with Jay Smith, they tried to corner me, and because the Quran actually said that bees eat fruit from the thamarat. And so there's a falsifiable statement. So I cannot fall back on the miracle stuff. No. The Quran is actually making a scientific claim over here. So again, there are many statements. Please don't interrupt me, guys. Let me respond. So there are many statements in the Quran which can be falsified, and you cannot use the miracle clause. For example, and the same thing with the Bible. Like, for example, if the Quran said that the mustard seed is the smallest seed that you plant in the ground, like the Bible says, then that's a falsifiable statement, and you cannot fall back on the miracle claim. So there are many statements like that, and this is one of the great miracles of the Quran, that both the book contains this mustard seed argument, but the Quran doesn't repeat the scientific error of the Bible, and that's why Shimon and Wood are running from me, because they know it's true.
No, so in case of bees, right? Imagine I'm an apologetic. Imagine I'm an apologist, and then you say like bees don't eat fruits, right? That's a falsifiable claim. But let's say we actually did find out that bees don't eat fruit, then you would have simply said like, okay, no, it's not talking about which species of bees eats fruit, or maybe maybe during that time there were bees, or maybe God intervened so that bees could eat fruit. So you can just keep making up things and then claim them as miracles. I don't think there's anything falsifiable in the Quran, let alone the vagueness of it.
Here's my promise for you. If you ever do demonstrate something like that, I will not offer you those type of bogus excuses. Okay,
but that's what you have been offering.
Hold on a second. You should be well trained enough to take a false argument like you just said and tear it to pieces. And if you don't got those skills, you shouldn't be up here. Okay, so you're asking me now to do your job, because time and time again you guys are failing in producing any scientific miracles. So now you're coming back to me and saying, Nadir, how do I do this? Because the miracle talking about the is silly to talk about the miracle claims of the Quran and what God is going to do. Say, oh, look, they're contradict science. That's silly. And now you guys find yourself in a bad situation and you don't know how to get your way out of it. So you're asking me for help. That's what's going on over
Mr.
here.
Nadir.
Okay,
just
every
for-
claim of
just-
hold on one
just-
second.
just
Every
for-
claim of
no,
science.
I'm not waiting
Oh,
for one more second. Okay.
no, you gotta. You have to
No,
let me
I-
finish. Just like
No,
I
I don't have to
guys
let
finish.
you finish
You don't have
because
to let me finish. Okay.
you're not
And it's
making
all
a
false
good point.
accusations
Go ahead.
anyway. We
Go.
are not in a compromised position. You are. We're not. We have the thing that you're arguing that we don't. We can't.
Where? Show it to me.
God cannot miracle the stars to fall. Period. God can't do it. There's no way that God could take something that is 11 jillion miles across and make it fall onto an 8,000 mile wide Earth. It can't happen. Not even God can do that. You get that?
So,
Okay.
the problem
that
with
claim
the
right there,
problem with your
basically,
premise,
I
Mr.
can
Nadir,
claim
is-
victory of tonight's debate on that one claim. Now, I want to repeat back what Aaron said. He said God cannot do it. He cannot even do something
Right.
like that. So I know the Christians, I know the Jewish people, I know the people who do believe in theology, or even the atheists who come from a religious background. They're going to look at that and they're going to laugh at that. Okay, so I'm not even going to respond to that. I think I will just let the audience decide for themselves where the
Yeah,
you
and
know,
that
where
was
the
just
truth
one
lies.
star. That
Okay,
was
go
just
ahead.
one
Come up
star.
with that
So
flat. Let's do that flat disc baloney. Go ahead. Let's do that one.
No, we're doing that next week.
Okay, what do you want to do?
Because
next?
I have a long
Yeah.
list for those, and those are the errors
Okay.
that I found. Well, actually, they're
Yeah.
related to the ones that Apostate Prophet are going to bring. Some of them are tied into that, so he will actually probably be covering these first.
Mhm. Okay, so what's the next alleged scientific error?
I just want to make clear that if God cannot make 1,000,000 mile wide sphere literally fall, that can't happen, to an 8,000 mile wide sphere. That can't happen. But that was just one star. To make the stars, 11 jillion stars all fall in no, that can't happen. Now that can only happen in the mindset of stars being smaller than the Earth, which we know is not true. That's if God was going to do it, it would still have to be with the stars being smaller than the Earth.
Mr. Nadir, do you recognize this? Do you see what this is? Hello?
He looks.
Is he
I think
frozen?
he's frozen.
Is he frozen?
Yeah, he appears to be.
Oh, too bad.
Do you have Apostate Prophet? Do you have your next item on the list ready? I can't hear you.
Might be some
Oh,
internet issues.
My mic was muted. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably gone. He might be back soon. Anyways, I wanted to say a few words to Aaron Ra before we even continue the debate. But there really is no point to. I really don't see the point in continuing the debate and the conduct that we have taken it so far, because Nadir Ahmed has a very, very dirty conduct of having this debate. You know, it's increasingly hostile. There are constantly these accusations, constantly these claims of, I have refuted all of you and you can't do anything against me, you can't say anything against me, and I've destroyed all of you. And
Yeah, that's
really,
the part. That's the part that bothers me. When he
it's really
when he thinks that we're cowering, or that we have failed, or that we're embarrassed, or that we think we're in a bad position. He said that last week.
Yeah.
And like, no, he says like he wasn't going to let me off the hook. I'm like, I'm not the one on the hook. I'm the one pulling you into the damn boat. What?
Yeah.
I need concise, clear argument. I don't need this schmizzle bangling of what?
Yeah,
The stars fall on a planet? Are you kidding me? I mean,
what
if
we've
one
seen today-
star hurtles towards the Earth and just gobbles it up and burns it into ash, right?
So
Because that's-
Nadir
That's what
knows.
can happen.
Nadir knows that stars are bigger than the Earth.
I
Nadir
don't
knows
think
that
he
they don't-
does. Aaron, I don't think he does.
Well, the point here is the whole discussion is not about the Bible. You know, Nadir has a thing that I have seen when I watched some of his debates and videos after I heard of him for the first time, that he constantly has to deflect that he constantly has to take the argument to the Bible again for some reason. But the argument is not about the Bible. I don't know why that constantly comes up. It is not about the Bible. We're not talking about the Bible. We're talking about the Quran. He seems to have said just a few minutes ago that there might be some falsifiable statements in the Quran. Although in the next moment he goes on saying that the Quran is completely miraculous and that there is no mistake in the Quran at all. I really want to
never concede to a falsifiable statement.
I would really like to hear him say if he thinks there is a falsifiable statement in the Quran, or that there might be possibly a falsifiable statement in the Quran, and if he accepts that, if he accepts even the possibility of that, what does he do with it? What would he do in response to that falsifiable argument? I really want to hear him say that. I mean, if he can't.
I think what will come out of that exercise would be he would come up with claims that are already scientifically verifiable and retrofit them, sort of like, hey, no, this is falsifiable and science agrees with it. So, that's my whole thing of the entire epistemology of this discussion, is that you're going to cherry pick the science that fits with the Quran, and then whatever doesn't fit, you're just going to put it in the bucket of the miracle list. And then secondly, remember when he first came to the show, he said that even a fifth grader would be able to understand when he talks to people in jail. It's not the case. And even the one that we were talking about today, where the sperm comes from, there are different scholars that have different interpretation. Like Ibn Kathir, in fact, thinks like the rib is the rib of the woman's chest. So there's actually two parties involved here. There's the man's backbone, and then there's the woman's chest, and then there's Jalalain means something, and then Yusuf Ali means something. And these are people who have spent their entire lives studying the Quran, and then they are the ones who are also disagreeing. So at this point, like, Quran is just a book which is so vague that you can actually make anything out of it. And that's when you can dodge and like bob and weave.
The problem is exactly when you say that, Nadir Ahmed suddenly jumps in and says, well, but the Bible, on the other hand, the Bible makes these claims, and the Bible has even more problems. Well, the discussion is not about the Bible. If you really want to go into the Bible, then we could argue about how the Bible is in nature very different from the Quran, which is why you're making a completely false equivalency here in order to distract from the Quran again. But we don't even need to argue about that because we're not arguing the Bibles. I really want him to stop constantly bringing up the Bible.
I don't know why he's bringing it up.
I think so when I was an apologist for Islam, right, I used to follow this course by Dr. Zakir Naik. So he had this online course where he used to teach people how to learn these apologetics. And then so for example, women's treatment in Islam, they have this set these section, sort of like you have to just like learn these things, and whenever someone argues, you just blabber out these points. So I think like maybe he's inspired by Dr. Zakir Naik, where he constantly compares the Bible. He always brings up the Bible. So I think he comes from that school of apologetics.
Possibly. It's interesting that we wanted to talk about the dome in the Bible and the flat earth in the Bible, because the same things do exist in the Quran, as you said, Aaron. I have a lot of resources on that. I dedicated an entire 5 to 10 minutes on just presenting only Quran verses about how the Quran clearly claims that the earth was flat and that there was a dome above the earth through which there comes water from whatever is beyond the dome. The Quran obviously has these claims. The Quran also says that that Allah's throne was above the waters, and that the earth was basically created on the waters, and all that kind of nonsense, But if you want to keep that for the next week, I would be delighted to have that discussion specifically, because that's a really interesting.
I would have liked to have had an apologist on for that. But if your life's mission is to never admit the obvious reality when it is that obvious, then obviously we can't have a discussion. We spent an hour still arguing on where sperm comes from. That was ridiculous.
I'm afraid he cannot admit. He cannot give an inch in this argument.
Now, in the other series we were doing, an infidel reads the Quran. Nadir would be very useful in helping me to make sure that my understanding or interpretation of the Quran is correct according to their traditions of what they believe. I would welcome having him for that, because he's not going to be in the same situation where he has to argue with me. There would be no argument. So yeah.
So is he gone now, or what is?
I believe he's gone now, and I don't think he's coming back. So there would be little point in. We can still have the discussion if you want to bring up like the flat earth thing. There was one thing that I wanted to mention for that the Quran mentions that the Bible doesn't. On the flat earth idea, the Quran says that mountains are essentially paperweights on the map of the earth.
So by the way,
yes,
the discussion we just had, I think Nadir can, any apologist can actually just go back and look at it and say like, hey, look, the Quran was always right. These people will never believe.
Nadir's back. Yeah.
Oh, there you
go. I don't know what happened.
Hey, guys.
Yeah. What happened?
I think we might need to do this at another time, because the internet in my house is no more. Wow. I've been actually using a hotspot, because I think it's because of all the hurricane. Nobody wants to come out and give me any internet. So could we might have to do this for next week.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah. Okay. So let's and by that time the internet will be made. I think it's going to be working and something like that. So
inshallah.
And so I hope to see you again, Apostate Prophet. And don't worry, I'm not going to say anything bad about you or be mean or anything like that.
No worries.
I think you'll find that the rumors about me are not true. So yeah, let's just do this for next week. And I hope Sam Shimon and David Wood would be honest enough to open up their books for scientific inquiry like we're doing with the Quran, and we'll be happy to do so. All right, so I'm just going to sign out, guys, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, see you, and thanks for coming back to us.
So we
again, see, what was the entire David Wood and Bible Sam Shamoon thing about again? What?
I have no idea. I'm not even. Yeah. So are we good for 5 p.m. Greenwich time next Sunday?
We should be. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Happy to do
Looks
it again.
like a plan.
Yep, and we'll have some notes. Are we going to be talking about? Are we going to talk about the stars and planets thing again? Because we didn't do it today.
Yeah, we couldn't really talk about it. I mean, we could. I think we could prepare the next talk a little bit more, a little bit better from my side. I could present the points that I would like to argue to you, Aaron. You could have a look at that. You could tell me what you think about it, and we could just go.
And
ahead
then maybe when we come to these discussions, or when we come to these disputes, we could say, okay, well, we know that sperm comes from the testes, but the Quran does not say that, does it? It says something.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't say that.
It doesn't. And I was actually going back and forth on this, and I was arriving to the unfortunate point of we were too charitable to call all those liquids semen and go on with the argument that way. I don't know what's the point if this is where it goes.
Okay, well, as far as being charitable, let's not accuse of lying. Let's not, let's just try.
I'm not saying that.
I'm sorry.
Saying it is charitable for a modern day person to say all those liquids means something, and then the Quran knows that actually it is the semen that does the work, and it's in a form of a liquid.
I'm sorry on my part. I'm sorry on my part. I came a little bit kind of angry. I was kind of prepared to be angry actually into this discussion because of the things I heard until I joined the discussion with Nadir Ahmed, the things I heard him saying about me. So I might have been a little bit angry with him today. I'll try to be a little bit more patient next time.
Oh, by the way,
so yes.
Could you share the topics that you decide for next week earlier, maybe on Saturday or something, so that we can prepare?
So yeah, we'll make some notes. We'll have let's gather like a half a dozen points, or if there's let's say, I'm just saying a ballpark, a half a dozen to a dozen, something in there. Just remember that every one might be a prolonged discussion. And we'll have the verses and the approved translations ready so we can read them out.
Yeah, just in an order of sequence that you're going to discuss, and
Yeah,
then
now last
if we
time
if
we
we if
did-
we get to all of them, then fine. If not, then we just discuss the top ones.
Yeah, last one of course we talked about everything that it said about sperm that seemed to be inaccurate, and then this time we're going to be doing stars and planets, or the Earth's relation to the cosmos, and try to keep as concise number of related points there. I like to keep the related points whenever possible.
Okay.
By the way,
All right.
Aaron,
Yes.
if Nadir Ahmed, he brought it up so much, if he wants to have a debate between him and me, I don't want to take this program away and turn it into that. If he wants to do that, if you want to arrange that, we could do that. We could do that separately, where we just have a debate on the subject: scientific mistakes or miracles in the Quran. I think it should be doable. I really don't know if I want to do that, but it should be doable. So. Yeah.
Well, you decide if you want to do that. I can host that on my channel if that's what you prefer.
I think it should be doable. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk about that in email later on, and I'll go ahead and close it up. And thank you, everybody. And even though Nadir is not here, thank you, Nadir, for taking part and all that. All right. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.